All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. I'm so excited about this episode. This episode is we got the legendary Earn Your Leisure in the building, Rashad, Troy. We're gonna talk about everything you need to know to start from the bottom and get to all of the success that you need. What's up, fellas?
My God, what's up?
Yo, and so look, I'm excited, right? So I want to talk. I mean, if people have been under a rock and they don't understand or don't know what Earn Your Leisure is, I'll be disrespectful if I say it's a podcast. I'll be disrespecting the whole movement. And so for those who may just not know, what is Earn Your Leisure?
It's a platform, financial literacy, business, investing platform. Started out as, social media, podcast, and now we have an online university. We have a network, podcast network. So it's really a community. That's probably the best way to describe it. A community for business, entrepreneurship, investing, and financial literacy.
And so I know, talk to me a little bit about the genesis of it, right? And so I know, Rashad, financial advisor. Hooper first though. Let me not, you know what I'm saying? Let me put some respect on that. You know what I'm saying? Hooper first. But financial advisor, Troy, educator. Talk to us a little bit about your background and how, this combination of financial education, came about.
Yeah, so it started, I was working in New York City as a teacher, health and phys ed teacher. And every summer I was running a program. And part of the program, I was just looking at it from the aspect of education standpoint, like, there are things that are not being taught in school. And so every 6 weeks, I wanted to treat it like a school year. And so one of those topics was financial literacy. And when I was starting it, he was just beginning his career in financial planning, financial advising. And so I was like, we probably should teach kids about money, because at the end of it, it was an internship program. So we go out and find careers for them, the aspirations that they told us in their interview. And at the end, we give them $500. So it's the first time, they're like 14, 15, it's their first time coming in contact with money. And so we want to teach them about the value of it, how to understand it, how to use it wisely, right? And so I was like, look, we should probably teach kids about money since we're paying them. And at first he was a little hesitant because, he's coming from school. He's like, teaching is totally different. And so I was like, nah, we got this. Here's what we'll do. Like, I'll write the plans. You come in, you be the face of it. You know more about money than I do. So it's going to be super authentic. And from there, it was like, all right, let's get this thing going. And every summer, 10 summers, man, like we was holding down for 10 summers, like in the classroom, like teaching kids about money. And that grew into kids learning, but also them going home and telling their parents about the things they were learning. They were coming up with business plans. They would come up with all these creative ideas. And it was like, this is pretty dope. Like, we were doing it in our community, but it was like, how can we spread this? You know what I'm saying?
And then, so now, y'all come up with this plan to spread this, nationally, now it's global, but talk to us about that beginning process of, saying, all right, you know what, we want to spread this. How do we, why podcasts? How did that come about?
The podcast was a result. So before we decided to spread it as a brand, it was my own personal brand that I was building for a couple of years as I wanted to be like a financial advisor, guru, whatever, on Instagram. And so that was like the original framework, was to go on other people's shows. I would go on anybody that would invite me on their show, I would go on their show and film myself and put little 60-second clips on Instagram, just trying to build my social media following. So from there, a couple clips went semi-viral, and people kept asking, they thought I had a podcast because they were seeing the clips from other people's radio shows and stuff like that. So they where do I check your podcast out? I'm like, I don't have a podcast. So they you should start a podcast. So that was after 2 years or at least 18 months of growing that own personal situation. So it was the podcast originally started out of the demand for that. And it was all right, it's a way to kind of grow my own personal page even more. It wasn't necessarily, the vision wasn't necessarily to have what we have now. It was more so all right, you know what I'm saying, why not? People's asking for it. It's good timing right now. Let's just start a podcast. And then once we started the podcast, it just took on a whole world within itself.
We was looking at it from this standpoint, Shotty about to blow.
Yep.
Let's make sure he can get there. You know what I'm saying? So it was anything he needed, it was we're gonna get it there, because if he win, we all gonna win. And so that branch pretty much the format of how he was doing it was like, if we found anything that we talked about that we knew that was interesting and people kind of didn't really have commonplace knowledge about, it was like, yo, let's send it to him. And his joint blew crazy. And like you said, they were like, yo, you need a podcast.
Word. And I don't want nobody to miss this, and that's why, you know, I love the story, right? Because what a lot of times people don't realize is what they try to do is create these plans and just go out thinking about themselves, opposed to thinking of it from a value perspective, right? And then just being who you are, honestly, right? Mm-hmm. You as an educator, you know, you as a financial advisor saying, hey, I want to go out there and provide value to the community, right? Troy's like, yo, kids need to learn this. So let's create a program to help kids learn this. You know, Rashad is like, yo, I'm a financial advisor. I want to spread this message of fiscal responsibility out to the world. And then just being who you guys naturally are.
Right.
It, like, I can't 10 million views later. You know what I'm saying? Thousands of earners, right? A whole podcast network, trucking business. I mean, y'all name it. Like it's nominated by iHeart as one of the top business and finance podcasts in the entire world. Not New York. No, not New York, right? Not New York, not America, right? Yeah. You have big things, right? Big things are going. You're talking about Jamaica, the Caribbean, everything, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, so first I didn't want anybody to miss that.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't this contrived plan like, yo, I'm gonna do this. It was value first, and then as you provide value, demand comes, and then once the demand comes, then you know, opportunity starts to come. So talk a little bit about that. Like, did you know, once you guys started this podcast, like I'm talking, like y'all, like this level of success is not normal. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? How did y'all feel? You know, or how do you feel, right? Because it's not even like y'all still, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's humbling, you know what I'm saying, that people is even interested in what we have to say. And it's one of those things, it's like sometimes in life, the stars align. So I feel like for us, it was just great timing as far as financial literacy at that time was like at the beginning stages of really taking off in our community. And we came with the financial literacy message, but it was different, you know what I mean? So it was like for a long time, in order to speak financial literacy or be taken seriously, you had to wear a suit, you had to have glasses, you had to, you know, speak a certain way. And that was kind of like normalized, like, you know what I mean? Even for us in our community, like the finance guys, they all wore suits and they all, you know what I'm saying, talked a certain way and went to Howard University and things of that nature. Shout out to Howard. But it was like, for us, like, you know what I'm saying, they see us and they look at us like we dress how we dress now, hoodies and, you know what I'm saying, Air Force Ones, and our dialect isn't the most polished and things of that nature, but we still are getting across the information at a very high level. Right. So it's like, oh, this is actually something that I could relate to. Yeah. So it was a perfect time with the delivery. I think delivery as us as messengers, and then also the message, people was receptive to it. And I feel like, you know, we always like money. When I say we, like our culture, we always like money. If you look at rap, hip hop, you know, going back from the 80s, people always glorified materialistic items and cars and chains and things of that nature, but we just didn't understand money. So it's like you don't have to preach the value of money, the appreciation of money. We just didn't understand the relationship of it, of how to actually obtain it other than sports and entertainment. So now we come, it's like everybody, the vast majority of people are never gonna be rappers or athletes, but the vast majority of people can be business and have vending machines and get trucks and real estate, stocks, things of that nature. So this is something that's actually obtainable. So now it's like, and you're showing it and you're showing people, like we bring you on and it's like, you know, you speak the language and you know, come from Harlem and you was the head of a bank. So that's like, yo, if Ash Cash can do it, I know I can do it. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's somebody for everybody, whether it's Wall Street Trapper, whether it's Ian, whether it's, you know, Alice Good Energy, somebody can see themselves. Right. And even us, they could probably see themselves in me or see themselves in Troy. Yeah. So it's like, you know, to have that everyday, just working class upbringing and now being able to spread the message of financial literacy is just one of those things that caught like wildfire. To answer your question, it's extremely humbling and we don't take it for granted. But it's one of these things where you can't get caught up in the moment of success.
Right.
Because I feel like once you get caught up in the moment of success, that's when it's over.
Right.
Because there's always somebody else trying to chip away at it, or just, critics or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, you never can celebrate. I never forget, I think it was Urban Meyer when he won the national championship a while ago when he was coaching at Florida. And his wife was saying, like, after like the championship was over at like, let's say like 12 o'clock, everybody went home, 12 o'clock at night. And she caught him in the office at 12:30. Making calls to recruits for next year.
Right.
He was like, never said like he got so scared because it's like, all right, once you reach the top, where you gonna go?
Right.
You got to stay at the top or go to the next level. You can't go down from there.
Yeah.
So that work ethic is something that we still carry, and we never really get caught up in looking at the success. We're thankful for it. It's a blessing, but we just keep working.
Yeah, man. We gotta bring Jay in because, everybody want to be us. We just gotta see us, and so
That's a big bar.
Yeah, but that's the mindset. It was like, if we could just put the people that look like us, sound like us, in front of a camera to spread their intelligence, spread their brilliance, the more people will aspire to be it. And it's like one of the things Shawty's always says too. It was like, look, I know more people that talk like me, that dress like me, that walk like me than I do an accountant. I don't know too many accountants that look like me. I don't know too many financial advisors that look like me. So the mass majority of people that are around us sound like us, talk like us, but now they don't have the information, the knowledge. So it's extremely encouraging because it's like, you can see the impact. Yeah. You can see conversations changing. Like, we're not just talking about basketball anymore. Yeah. We're talking about investing. We're talking about real estate. And so, we see those conversations happening throughout the country, really. Every time we go somewhere, it's like, y'all changed my life. And it's like, wow. But it also keeps that, like you said, that work ethic. It's like the mindset is always like, stay down, keep grinding. Right, like we signed a few deals, but ain't no parading.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we really live like them lyrics that them dudes is talking. Rest in peace to Nip. Like, we really live in it because it's like there is no parading. Right. There is somebody that's next that's trying to come and like, we could be better. And it's like, nah, we're looking at us right now like, we could be better. You know what I'm saying? So,
I got now. I don't care who got next.
I don't care who got next. Exactly. Exactly.
It's a fact.
And so while we have that spot, it's like, all right, let's maximize it. Let's put out quality. Let's add value. Let's uplift the generation that's been lacking in patience.
Nah, big fact. And so, and I love this though, right? Because I always preach that us as a community, we need to change the relationship with money, right? Meaning that a lot of times people work hard for money, opposed to allowing money to work hard for them. And so money's supposed to cycle, right? So you're not supposed, like, if you're gonna physically work for money, you make the money. There's 4 types of people in the world. You got consumers, producers, investors, and the philanthropists, right? Most people are consumers, and so they got to keep working. They make money, they consume. They make money, they consume. But you guys are producers, you guys are investors, you guys are philanthropists, right? Giving back, you guys are investing, you guys are producing, products and services. And so I love that about, the Earn Your Leisure movement, because not only, started off as a podcast, that was the brand, but you guys have ventured into things that like you guys got a truck, right? So talk a little bit about that mindset. What made y'all decide to get into other businesses that were almost, away from where you originally started?
Just information, as far as the podcast, like, we bring so many people on the podcast and they give us so much information, whether it's trucking, vending machines, mobile home, real estate, stocks, whatever. So it's like everybody always hits us up all the time, like, this podcast changed my life. I brought 5 vending machines after I listened to this episode, and I got a truck and da-da-da. So it's like, we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't take advantage of the firsthand relationships that we was making and the information that we was learning. So it's like a lot of the stuff that we actually learn from the podcast, or just learn from relationships that we make through, Instagram and different people, influencers that we've connected with, we're taking advantage of that. So it's like, when you see us with stocks, we always kind of been in stocks, but it's just accelerated us, now being around and actually having a stock show with Ian. Shout out to Ian, Market Mondays, and shout out to Wall Street Trapper, all of these guys. So that just helped us get even deeper into stocks. Hanging around MG, the mortgage guy, like, he's a mortgage broker. So that's what he does. So of course, real estate is something that we're going to be even more interested in now, because that's all he talks about. And trucking, that came from Alex. That's one of our biggest episodes. And, he gave the game on trucking. So it was like, why not diversify and you get a truck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why not? So
Trying to get it out there.
yeah. So all of that stuff is just information, bro. Like, and I feel like that's the biggest currency that there is the value of information. Because it's like, if you don't, you can have money, but if you don't know what to do with it, you're either gonna blow it or you just gonna hoard it because you're just gonna be extremely scared not to blow it. You know what I'm saying? But once you have knowledge and information, you put it in different places. And for us, it was just all through relationships that we made. So it's a blessing, man. And that's one of the greatest things I think about knowledge. It's like, they could take money from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see it like all the time. Like, the IRS can get you, anything can happen, lawsuit, whatever. Like, you could be up millions of dollars and lose it. You know what I'm saying? But they can never take information. They can never take knowledge out of your brain. So even if you lose money, if you got knowledge of how to get money, you're gonna get it back. It's just a matter of time. But if you have money with no knowledge, it's just a matter of time before you lose it.
Wow.
Yeah. And to add to it, it's like we want to be doers of the work, right? So we getting the information and we telling people to execute, but who are we if we're not doing the same? You know what I'm saying? So now, like I said, we just gotta see us. And so now we have somebody come on, they give the information about the industry, but now they feel it's like, yo, we can do it too, because Ernie Lee's is doing it. And so like when we get a truck, of course it's gonna encourage more people to say like, yo, they did it, they're the one who introduced us to the information, they're actually applying it, yo, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? Vending machines, same thing. It's like, yo, I got 16-year-olds, like, yo, I wanna get a vending machine right now. All right, here's a business plan, let's get it done. And so now you're creating entrepreneurs where it's like at 16, 17, where it's like, yo, do I want to run a business or do I want to go to college right now? You know what I mean? So it's shifting the mindset. Like you said, like the mindset is the key. And so we're shifting the mindset earlier and earlier. So now it's common nature. Right now, the dinner table conversation is a lot different than like, yo, are you watching Love and Hip Hop tonight? No disrespect to that, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Respectfully.
Respectfully. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it changes the conversation, which will eventually change the dynamic of that family's generational wealth.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, one of the things again that I love is that you guys are not afraid to give the game, right? Because I'll even say, like, I've watched a few episodes that literally the first lady, my wife and I, like literally are like, oh, I never thought of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, oh, I'm about to get into that. I'm about to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so you know, I think that's an important thing, is that, you know, to your point, that you guys are like shifting the culture. And when it's all said and done, I believe that this is a renaissance that's happening in our community. I think that the conversations are different. When we look back 30 years, right? There's gonna be some, you know what I mean? Some leaders of the new school, people gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like how they talk about Martin and Malcolm.
We said that.
Yeah.
We was in DC, we was like, yo, we gotta take a picture.
Yeah.
And we stood in the front like, yo, somebody in this room is going to change this culture forever. So let's capture this moment. Let's make sure we document it, because they're going to look at us like they looked at the civil rights movement, right? Like somebody going to be the Martin Luther King of this thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? But we're breeding so many more leaders that you can't stop this movement.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, that's what I love the most, right? Is that, you know, African proverb, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, to go together.
Exactly.
And even, you know, Fash Out the Ian, Fash Out the Wall Street Trapper, they both talk about stocks, right? Yep. But it's the different flavor, right? And so, you know what MG says, right? Collaboration over competition, right? Mm-hmm. And so on that vein, somebody's watching right now who has a podcast idea. You know, they want to launch something. You know, talk to us a little bit about sort of like your blueprint for success. Like what has worked? What would you tell, you know, someone who is like, I got a message, I want people to reach this message? You know, what would be your advice to them?
I mean, yeah, for us, consistency.
Yep.
Is the biggest thing. I think that stops a lot of people off the rip, is consistency. And then to put together a plan, you know, for us, we had set days where we was filming, and then we drew up the topics, we drew up the outline of the show. So that was the first thing. And then of course, like learning like the podcast game, is a lot that goes into it.
So it's not easy. I thought it was easy. You just wake up, throw some flip flops, and just work.
Yeah, nah, it's a lot, man. It's finding like we use the app. We used to use an app called Anchor, where that was like a publisher, like they published the podcast to like you know, different outlets. So there's a bunch of different apps that you can use for that. You got to figure out that. You got to figure out your sound. You know what I'm saying? So that's a huge thing that, you know, even now we still have problems with sound every once in a while, because it's like the microphones is extremely important. It's an audio experience if you're listening to it. If you're not watching it on YouTube, you're listening to an audio. So you want to at least have somewhat of good audio. So figuring that out, and then of course the visuals, you know. So for us, when we first started, you know, we had basic level mics, shotgun mics, which is like, you know, of course like $100 and something.
Not even.
Yeah.
$20.
And then we used iPhones, you know what I'm saying, to capture the visuals. So now,
Bro, episode 26, I know, man. You know what I'm saying?
for sure. So we ain't have a fancy setup like you got right now, man. You started at the top. We started at the bottom. You started at the top. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? So, and Troy, he could give you even more technical aspect of it as far as like, you want to talk about like the mixer and...
Yeah, man. I mean, the most important thing is like if somebody's trying to start, just start. Like we had no knowledge of any of this. So we didn't even know what Anchor was. We didn't know what shotgun mics were. We didn't know how to record. Like we didn't come into this game with any of that. Like we taught each other everything we knew. Down to the point where it was like we were having issues with sound. And I never forget, I was listening to Nip and he was like, yo, if the sound man can't come, I'm the sound man. If the engineer can't come, I gotta be the engineer. Like I can't rely on anyone else but me just in case somebody doesn't come. And so I took that very personal and I was like, all right, well, if the sound is not great, then I gotta figure out why it's not great. And so like I studied how to record. Like I went to YouTube University and looked up GarageBand and the ins and outs of it. I'm like, all right, I think I got this. I think I can do our sound. And so after that, I was like, yo, well, how do you even get the sound to the computer? And so we had to get like a Focusrite, which, you know, you put XLR cables in, which is like, gives the best sound. And so even when we had that, like we did, I think right before your episodes, we were doing the XLRs and we weren't getting any sound. I'm like, yo, what is this? We had the wrong mics. I'm like, yo, these are dynamic mics. Like we have to make sure that this sounds great because like you said, it's an audio experience as well as a visual one. And so just learning how those mics work, how the systems work, how to record, because in the beginning it was like, it's just 3 people in the room. Like, you know, like we sitting in the room and it's like, yo, I hope that recorded. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the key is learn as much as you can and learn on the fly and learn as you go. Like we're still growing, right? Like I came in here today, I'm like, yo, I like those cameras, these lights look great. Okay, I like that stand. I'm trying to grow because I'm looking at it like, yo, this is top level. And so like, we're still growing. And so like, now I'm looking at it as a challenge, like, yeah, that black magic over there, I need to learn how to use that.
Wait, you give it too much. You give it too much. Troy, chill out, man. Hold on. Cut that out. No, I'm just joking.
I'm looking at it like, yo, we need to master that because I know these visuals are gonna look crazy. And so like, we're always adding things. We did a show yesterday. I'm looking at it like, yo, this lighting is crazy. The sound in this room is crazy. Like, there's no echo here. Like, oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that we pick up as we go. Yeah. So like, anybody that's trying to start, it's not like, yo, I have to have the perfect setup. I have to have all these things in order to get going. Nah, get going. You'll learn as you go. But make sure that you learn as you go. Because again, and this is like, he used to kill me about the sound. Like, yo, it's not loud enough. It's not loud enough. And he was right. And it was like, yo, we're not competing against ourselves, right? We're competing against the top podcasts in the world. Right. And so when you take that approach, you realize how serious this is. Like, yo, we need to have the best sound quality. We need to have the best visuals. And so we're growing to that. And the beauty of it is that the people who started with us on those iPhones, you know what I'm saying? They can watch the growth now. So like when you tell me like, yo, the growth is crazy, I know it because you came to the dining room with the iPhones, you know what I'm saying? You was there for those moments. And so it makes it even more like of a thing like, yo, that's crazy. He was really here in the beginning with us. So like to hear that come from you was like, yo, that means a lot, bro. Because you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, my wife gotta go. We gotta record kids. Y'all gotta get out. We gotta record here. So yeah, man, just start from where you are and grow as you continue on in the process.
Yeah, I love that because I think that when I think about entrepreneurs, when I think about people trying to start something, they're usually they get in their own way. They're trying to make something perfect. When people don't realize that you're making it perfect for you, but you don't even really matter at the end of the day. It's the consumer,
exactly.
Right? You're not recording this for you. You're recording it for the consumer. And so how else are you going to know if the consumer rock with something unless you put it out? You know what I'm saying? And so, the message that I got is like, yo, just do it ugly. Just do it, right? Like, don't try to wait to get everything together. Obviously there are, YouTube University, but forget EYL University. If you know, right?
Yeah,
EYL University, do what you need to do to kind of get that information. So what's next? What's next for EYL?
A lot, bro. We got the network, podcast network. So we're excited about that and just.
I saw some big, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got some big acts on there though too.
News alert.
Look. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it'll be late news by the time this episode comes out. But of course, the bro Ash Cash is definitely a partner with us in that situation. So we are excited to work with you on that.
Absolutely.
And so that's we went through so many trials and errors and mistakes with us learning the podcast game. There's really no blueprint or manual for it. So it's like, all right, now that we've reached a certain level of success and we've been able to build relationships with different corporations and things of that nature, and we've kind of figured it out and we're still learning, but we have a strong vision of like how to actually make these things work. But like, why not open it up and help other creatives and other people that, have podcasts? I feel like we a lot stronger working together than we are separate. So Market Mondays was the first show that we had, and that was a huge success. Is a huge success. Stock Market Show. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to Dave Shands, Sleepers for Suckers on Instagram. Social Proof Podcast. You know what I'm saying? He's on the family, and of course you.
Inside the Vault.
Yeah, and we got a few other shows. So that's something that we really excited about. And then EYL University, one of these things with learning all of this stuff and developing all of these relationships is like. The podcast is great, but it's really, we learned there's only so much you can actually learn from like an hour podcast. Mm-hmm. So some people want more of a hands-on experience and more of a community feel. So we built out an online university called EYL University, and that's just like everything that the podcast is on steroids. So it's weekly, every class is a class every single week where teachers come in and Zoom, they do PowerPoint presentations, they do question and answers. We got a Facebook group with over like 5,000 people where people just network with each other. We got a movie club, we got a book club. I do a financial planning call. Matt does like 2 real estate calls every single week. He created the Homebuyers Blueprint, which is like an encyclopedia for homebuyers. That's included in EYL University. So
accountability teams as well.
Yeah. So it's literally like a real university.
Wow.
Like it's like probably better than any business school out there. For a penny fraction of what these schools cost. So we focus on that. We focus on the media side.
And I'm a professor too, though, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We got some dope professors.
Yo, I'll be damned if I sign to Harvard where Troy and Shadi got EYL University. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that for us, for sure.
Yeah.
Ash Cash, definitely a professor.
Professor Cash.
So that's it. I feel like you can never get stagnant in this game. You can never rest on your laurels. You can never look at your success, spike the football. It's always about what's next. You know what I'm saying? It's always about what's next. And for us, those are a few things that, we really got on the vision board for really expanding in 2021. And just continue to just keep working. Like, and that's something that I think people need to really understand too. It's like, you never win in this game. You never win and you never really lose either. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there is no end to, like, you know what I'm saying?
Wait. It's a bar. That's a bar. Don't miss that. Like, expand a little bit. You never win, you never lose.
Yeah, I feel like you only win or you lose when game is over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in sports, like you win once the clock is 0.
Yep.
You lose once the clock is 0. It's like they say it's not over till the fat lady sings. Like you can always come back. So you never lose, you never win until it's over. Like, you know what I'm saying? When they wrap you up and put you in that casket.
Right, breath in the body. As long as you have breath in the body, you good money.
As long as I'm alive and breathing.
You could be up 10 million and lose it that quick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could be down to your last dollar and become a millionaire that quick.
Yeah.
So you always got an opportunity. The pendulum could switch in any direction very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's never a loss. It's never a win. It's just a journey.
That's a bar, yo. Like I felt that in my soul. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that's a bar, though. Like I don't like if y'all don't catch nothing else though, please stay with that. Yeah, for sure. All right. So now you guys successful. Everything is moving. You guys sort of went from where you started to, like I said, 10, come on, 10. Y'all went Usher Diamond like out in here, you know what I'm saying, in the podcast world. What is the, when we think about finances, y'all teach finance, what is the best, you know what I mean? And I'll ask individually as well, what is the best financial advice that you've ever received?
I'm gonna do it in true Ash Cash fashion. In anticipation for precipitation, stack chips for a rainy day.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, so like the first time I sat down with him and in my financial planning journey, he was like, yo, you need to have 6 to 8 months reserves. And when he was explaining it to me, I was like, all right, that makes perfect sense. And as I started accumulating more money, it was like, yo, 6 to 8 probably ain't gonna be enough, right? Because the money and the blessings that you receive sometimes aren't just for you. They're gonna be for you and your family, but they're also gonna be the extended families that are gonna be looking to you, right, as the breadwinner to like, yo, I need help. And a lot of times in our community, we look at it like, yo, I worked hard for this, this is mine. But we're trying to shift that mindset as well. It's like, yo, now we're not giving handouts, but yo, sometimes these blessings that you received are not just for you. So that was probably one of the biggest keys of advice I got.
Dope.
Me, it was it's not how much you make, it's how much you invest. A lot of times people say it's not how much you make, it's how much you save. Saving is cool. You do need savings, but that's not going to get you to financial freedom. Right. Investments are, and I feel like, shout out to Lord of the Slums, Fernando, a great episode for us. And he said, like, every dollar is like a worker. You got to put it to work. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't be lazy, can't be unemployed, you got to be working. And that's how I look at money. Yeah. Like, it got to be like going every day around the clock. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm just looking at how I can employ my money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Put it in the stock market, buy a truck, buy real estate, you know what I'm saying? It always has to be doing something, because if it's not working for you, then what is it doing? It's defeating the whole purpose. A dollar is not meant to just spend, or a dollar is not meant to just look at. It's meant to actually make more money. Right. So once you understand that, and that really changed my life, like looking at money not as a resource to actually, like a voucher to spend, it's an actual, tool to actually use it to make more money. That's the whole point of money, to actually make more money. Wow. So, you know what I'm saying? That's something that we really are big on, is investing. And feel like, no matter how much you make, if you never learn to invest, you're never really gonna have any money. Right. And if you do learn to invest, over the course of time, you're gonna see that money double, triple, quadruple for you. And it's only a matter of time before you got a nice little nest egg.
Right, I love that. And so talk to me about mentors. I think I heard you say this, and I read Think and Grow Rich every single year. And I think I heard you mention, doing this podcast for y'all was like literally when Napoleon Hill was talking about that, like that mastermind alliance, where like you literally are masterminding with others and are able to learn with others, build with others, eat with others, Yeah. And so I know that mentorship though too, learning from others is really important. And so talk to me about individually your thoughts about the importance of having a mentor, and do you guys have mentors now?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we got hundreds of mentors now, and it's like everybody that comes on the podcast, for the most part, we keep in touch with, and they become a mentor. Like, you know what I'm saying? So if I have to write a book, I'm gonna call you. Yeah, like, exactly. I'm not gonna try to figure it out for myself. I know that you are the master when it comes to writing books. So if I have you as a resource, I would be foolish not to use you. And like you said, with Napoleon Hill, shout out to Maurice Claret, when he told me that, it really blew my mind and made me think about it. And he was like, if anybody's familiar with that book, the story, the guy followed the richest people and the most successful people around for like his whole lifetime. It took him like 20 years to write that book. And then when he wrote that book, it was it still is a bestseller. But we was able to do that in 12 months, 18 months, like, get all of the brightest minds in our community and learn from them and develop relationships with them. And a lot of them have become, mentors in our journey. So a lot of times people think mentors is like somebody that's like 50 years older than you and gray hair and all that, but a mentor could be somebody younger than you. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? A mentor is anybody that is able to give you information, knowledge, and wisdom. So for me personally, it's like a lot of my mentors are my peers. And I'm not too, proud to say that. I have to put my ego aside. And like, yeah, if I want to learn about mortgages, I'm gonna call MG. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a mentor to me when it comes to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just something that we have to learn to actually work with each other and learn from each other. It's like we'll learn from everybody else, but we like shun from learning from your brother or your sister. And it's like 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get more information from them because it's a way that you can actually understand it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So for us, that's just the accelerator of everything, whether it's Facebook ads or whether it's whatever. Like, we learn 9 times out of 10 is somebody that we know. Like Neo, tell me about how to do this ClickFunnels situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? He give me the game on it. So for us, it's just been a blessing to have this many relationships. especially a city like Atlanta. Every time I come to Atlanta, it's like, we don't have enough time. Everybody want to link up. Let's go out to dinner. Let me take you out, da-da-da. And that's the spirit of what's going on down here right now. Is like everybody's working together, and it's no surprise that Atlanta is, numero uno when it comes to culture, music, entertainment, business for Black entrepreneurs across probably the whole world. It's no surprise that they're working together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Other parts of the country, it's not happening like that.
Yeah.
So everybody should use that as an example. It's like, if this could be an example on a huge level of people working together, you see how this is actually working out for them. It's no, they buying Bentleys, they getting all of these cars because they sharing information. So, that's something that's extremely beneficial for us.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would add to that. Like you said, mentorship really doesn't have an age. And so if we get advice from John Henry, who's 26, I mean, we'd be foolish to not be like, yo, this kid is brilliant. We need to take everything we can from him as far as it comes to venture capitalism. He's been in that field, you know what I'm saying? Or a guy like Darryl Freeman, where it's like, yo, we met him one time, and once a week he's hitting us up like, yo, I'm learning from y'all. So he's looking at us like, I'm learning from y'all, but we're looking at him like, we're looking up like, yo, bro, like, we're learning from you, right? You sold a company for $26 million. But also in the music too, man. Like, a lot of the music that we listened to growing up, like, was shaping our mindset, right? So when we watched Bad Boy, Puff became our mentor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we felt like, yo, we could do what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? From the business side. We were looking like the music is cool, but this dude's gonna be a billionaire. Jay, same thing. That whole Rockefeller movement was like, yo, we're watching these guys like, yo, there's three of them, there's three of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, yo, we can really do this. And so when we got to actually sit down with a Dame Dash, it's like, yo, wow.
That was classic.
Like,
classic.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a moment for us, because like for so long we've watched this guy make moves, and it's like, yo, now we get to pick his brain, and now he gets to share his experience with our audience. So, I mean, mentorship comes in so many different forms, man. Like, you can learn from your kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes we let our egos or we let our mindset get in the way of that. But like, yeah, it doesn't stop at any age or at any time frame in life. You can learn something from anyone.
Yeah, and I love that, because I think that's, exactly what you guys said is key. There's so many people out there who, specifically in our community, right? In our community, we kind of look at age as being this thing. Like, if you're older, then you know more. But that's not, we know that's not really the case, right? There's somebody 50, 60 right now that can learn. So I love that, because again, mentorship is really important. It's really gonna help get from where you are to where you get to the next level. And so, the pandemic, right? Some people call it the bandemic, right? And so I always believe that there's always, I don't care what's happening, there's always two sides of a coin, right? Rest in peace to anybody who has lost their life. Strength and prayers to anybody who has lost somebody during this time. I've had close people who no longer here, because of the pandemic and COVID-19. So it's a real thing, right? But at the same time, there are there's a wealth transfer happening, like at this moment. And so there's an entrepreneur right now watching who is looking at this time as one of the worst times. It's a tough time trying to manage their business, trying to manage emotions. Even we have political strife. There's so much going on right now. What advice would you give to any entrepreneur, who's trying to manage, during this tough time?
Yeah, I think there's opportunities in every crisis. And like one thing Wall Street Trapper said that really stuck out to me is like, you always make more money in a drought. He's always saying it's a street reference. But when he said that, it's true if you're positioned correctly.
Yep.
And like you said, there's two sides to every coin. Unfortunately, you have the haves and have-nots, and this has just accelerated that. Whereas the wealthiest people in this country have accelerated their wealth tremendously during the pandemic, and the rest of the population has just gotten poorer. So it's like, people focused on $600 stimulus checks, and you got other people like Elon Musk who made $80 billion. So there's a huge difference, right? So for us, it was really focusing on the digital side of things, because it's like, we had live events that was really killing the game. And once the pandemic hit, that was over with. You know what I'm saying? That was a major source of revenue for us. So we had to pivot, and we didn't panic. Luckily, we had, systems in place that we could just double down. So like one of the first things I told Wall Street Trapper when this whole situation started, I said, double down on all your digital content, YouTube, everything that you're doing, just double down on it. And that's what we did. You started a stock show, Market Mondays, in the pandemic. We started putting out, massive amounts of online content. We started putting out more audio content for our podcast. And one thing about, recessions is that the financial literacy space booms during recessions. So it's like a seesaw. As the economy goes down, the financial literacy space goes up, because now people understand that education is the only thing that can save them. You can't get a job. Try to get a job right now, good luck. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't care what degree you got or what school you went to. You can't, there's no job interviews. You got to do a Zoom interview, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like being an entrepreneur is no longer really like just a dream in the sky. This is like a job opportunity, like, you know what I'm saying? This is a viable career that people is looking at. Investing is no longer like an optional thing. Like, you realize if you're not investing your money, you're not gonna have any money. So for us and for every entrepreneur, I would really look at the digital space, whether it's you selling your products. If you got a merch line, try to sell a merch online. Don't just try to have a physical location, because there's so much overhead and you're just limited yourself geographically. Music, we know that, everything is online when it comes to music right now. People can't do shows right now. So it's like, if you're not touring, how are you gonna make money? So you gotta understand how to actually really maximize streaming. You gotta understand how to do virtual shows. You gotta understand merch, things of that nature. So even like cooking, like, meal prep business is huge right now, and, selling recipes and online cookbooks and things of that, ebooks, things of that nature, right? So never get discouraged. You just gotta be able to pivot. And I feel like right now, where we at right now, this is just accelerated how we gonna move forward in the future. Like the brick and mortar, the days of owning a bakery and getting rich is over with. If you're not online, if you don't have some level of presence online, in my opinion, it's going to be tremendously hard to actually make it. Even if you got a brick and mortar business, the extension needs to be online. So that's worked out for us.
I'm surprised you ain't say it, because he always says it. I would say for any entrepreneur that is just starting, stay down until you come up. I'm surprised you ain't say that. 'Cause he always, that's his thing, like, stay down until you come up. And I just, for 12 months, like 11 months, like we wasn't making any money. We wasn't taking any money. Everything we got, we put back into the business. And so it was like, we weren't doing it for money. Money was a byproduct of the value that we was adding. You know what I'm saying? So it was like
Wait, it's another bar. You say that again? Money was a byproduct of the value
we were putting out.
that you put out.
Yeah, and so like we realized that very early, but we also had careers too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to discount that. Like, I was in school from 9 to 3 every day. Shadi had a business that he was running. And so what we chose to do outside of those parameters of those hours was going to determine the success of what we're going to be doing in the future, right? I always tell people that like, I don't ever discourage anybody doing 9 to 5, but what you do from 6 to 12, that can change. That can determine whether you'll have that 9 to 5 or how long you'll have the 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So staying down till you come up, like most businesses don't start with like, maximum growth. It takes time. So everybody being on the same page and understanding that mindset, that helps the business. And also, shout out to my bro, Derek Falcon. He was like, look, I can't even call it a contingency plan, right? If your business plan doesn't have A, B, C, D, E, F, G up to Z, is it a business plan, right? You got to figure out ways to make money if plan A don't work. That should be in the business plan before you create the business. And so like, that's valuable advice, because it's like, people like, all right, this is the only way, like if I create that bakery, if I only have this brick and mortar shop, and a pandemic happens, and I'm done. But if you had the digital, the delivery service, all of that in your business plan, you're not panicking. You're like, all right, well, we're gonna do this now. You know what I'm saying? So having those things inside of the business plan, but while you're creating the business, is gonna help you out.
Dope. And so now, years and years and years of experience, of trials and errors, of learning from people, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your 18-year-old self about finance and wealth?
I would say wisdom's better than silver and gold. Yeah.
got some bars.
Yeah, nah, I mean, that's, I tell you, like, the music impacts us. So, you know, at 18, I think I was buying gold chain. I had a few gold chains. I had some diamond earrings. You know, I was doing things that I saw entertainers doing. But knowing the wisdom, the education, if I had educated myself at an early age, not that I was like completely illiterate to finance, but had I educated myself more, obviously I've been a little bit further ahead. But nothing happens before its time, so I don't even regret that part, right? Like I had to learn, like, yo, you don't need to have that, you know what I mean, that BMW. Like, why are you paying for that right now? You know what I'm saying? Why are you running up your credit card right now? But those lessons got me to where I am today. So now it's like, all right, I've been through that, so you don't have to go through that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it all is part of the story. It makes sense, right? So when we was working in the summers, even at 18, we was working in the summers. That wasn't nothing new for us. So I don't regret any of it, but I would just say, yeah, wisdom's better than silver and gold.
Dope. Shotty.
For me, it was...
I got the shotty to your body, don't resist.
Yeah, for me, you know, fortunately, you know, I was always into finance. I remember I brought Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was like 18, actually, in prep school. I was reading that. So I think I was on the stage of learning. The biggest thing for me, as far as like business, would be just to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember Nas had said a line where he was like, why fear anything is now too late to. Like, he made a song about him being on his deathbed. And that really resonated with me because it's like, I wanted to do the social media thing years ago, like 10 years ago. And it's like, you know, you always got hangups and, you know, reservations. Like, yo, this is, I don't know, people gonna say this is corny. And you know what I'm saying? We all got those kind of things. So it's like, I waited years to do that until finally I got to the point where I told myself like, yo, I'm gonna die one day, so it doesn't really matter at the end of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just you can't worry about what other people think or, you know what I'm saying, thinking about if you fail or whatever. Like, that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of life. You only get one life. And, you know, we started it and we are where we are now, but it would have started it back then, we probably would have been 10 times even bigger than we are now. So that just is something that I always, you know, think about is like, you know, what if I didn't wait? What if, you know, different things that people do out of fear and stopping them, like, you know what I'm saying, from becoming an entrepreneur, from starting a business and investing and things of that nature. So for me, that would be my biggest takeaway to my younger self is just, don't worry about perception. Don't worry about failure. Don't worry about what anybody else has to say. Just go outside and just do it. Like Nike, just do it.
It's fun. It's funny because that's a similar story because my first book came out 2009, right? What's the name of the book? Mind Right, Money Right, right? So that's a Jay-Z and Memphis Bleak joint, but at the time, I was like, nah, yo, they gonna think it's corny. You know, if I don't have a suit on, people go, you know what I'm saying? And so that's that's a similar story. So I agree 1,000%. Like, just do it. Don't worry about what other people think. And so here's another. I would love to get your thoughts because both of your parents, right? Your parents and you run a business university, right? EYL University. And I know when I was coming up, it was go to school, get a good job, retire. And so now as entrepreneurs and running sort of, not a higher education type of university, but as equivalent, what's your thoughts about college? Like, is that something that you're, pushing your children towards? Is it something that you're like, you make a decision, or, just anybody who's watching who have kids and, trying to figure out, does that model still work? What's your overall thoughts on college?
I mean, me, I'm probably the worst person to ask this question.
We always had this debate.
But, I feel like, honestly, to be completely honest with you, I feel there's two sides to the coin. I think realistically, if I'm be completely being with you, after 10th grade, you don't really need school. The only thing you really need to learn how to do in school is to use a calculator to read and write. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's it. If you know basic level math, you're able to speak, you're able to actually read something, and you can able to actually type. You don't even need to write now. You can just type. You're good. And now you can actually, because that's all I use from school.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I never use chemistry, I never use history. Even though I love history, I never use it. It helps me in conversations to be able to have intelligent conversations, but a lot of that stuff you don't have to learn in school, you can learn on the fly. But school is good for relationships. It is good to be well-grounded. Sports actually helped me a lot. probably even more than the academic side was the sports side. You still use a lot of those same disciplines, and even a lot of the relationships that I made in sports has helped me a lot, and that came through school. So I feel like it really just depends on what you're trying to do. I don't discourage anybody from going to school, but I just feel like, we was lied to as far as coming from working class environments. You taught to go to college and get your degree, and then, that's a pathway to success. 90% of the people that I know personally that have degrees are struggling. You go to a liberal arts college and you get a liberal arts degree and you got a bunch of student loans, and you come out and you get in the middle of the road type job, and then you gotta get a second job to support yourself. I don't really know anybody that went to college and that was their pathway to become rich. I don't know one person that college was their pathway to become rich. Anybody that I know that really got money, they got it from being an entrepreneur. And I don't even know what college they went to. Even now, like I have a college degree. Ain't nothing I'm doing has anything to do with college. We got a truck. They ain't asked to see my college degree. They ain't asked to see my high school diploma. They just see it, send us the money.
Bad guy.
Exactly. So I feel like, it's important to be well-rounded. If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, something like accountant, it's definitely good to have that formal education. But for me personally, for my kid, I encourage him to go to school and do good in school, because you have to be, a certain level of educated. But after that, I'm teaching him about business, and hopefully he'll follow in the footsteps. And, it's not, that college degree is not going to be the make or break. It's not going to make or break the situation. It's something to have, to do socially, and it's a part of your life. But I think we got to stop expecting college to be our savior, because I don't know one person that college has saved, including myself. If I had to rely on my college, I am like the example of people that I know. I went to a state school and I have a communications degree. So, okay, I didn't go to Harvard. I don't have a master's degree in, high level finance. So if I was trying to get a job right now, it'd be tough for me. I'd have to, I don't know what kind of job I'd be able to get. You know what I'm saying? One of these jobs, but it's just any type of degree would fit. And I'd probably be screwed. To be completely honest, if I was relying on that, I never relied on my degree for anything. So I can't be a hypocrite and say like, yeah, I'm all for college, because I went to college, but the college ain't helped me. I helped myself.
Yeah. T-Roy, hold on, T-Roy.
Yeah.
Trouble T-Roy, because I know you in education, baby.
Yeah, so like that's the crazy part, because obviously I went to school, got my master's, and then I taught for 13 years. And so the biggest thing being in that system is like, that it needs reform. And now that as parents, you see it, especially with the pandemic, like this isn't working. And so it goes back to the premise of us creating the summer program was like, these things are being taught. And I don't see any people pushing. Like there's a few people here and there that are pushing for reform in the things that are being taught. Like, are we teaching education or are we teaching indoctrination? There's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? And so like the more I saw the indoctrination, I'm just like, yo, you're not gonna be complicit in it, right? Because if you're in it, then, and you're not making a change, you're just getting a check, so you complicit. Right. And so, especially in West Indian households, it was like, yo, college that's our way to success. And it was like, I had to go. And so for my kids, I wanted it to be more of a choice, not an expectation. The things that they'll learn from watching myself, watching their Uncle Rashad, they're gonna keep with them for a lifetime. I always tell people like, look, I went to school. I could work there for 20 years. That won't guarantee my son or my daughter can get a job there. It won't even guarantee that they can get an interview there. In fact, I can't even pass down their degree. But what we doing with Earn Your Leisure, you can hear they talk now. Like, yo, I'm the boss. Like you ask my son, he's 7 years old, you a boss? Yeah. What you own? Earn Your Leisure? And so like, that's different, right? So now when he gets 17, 18, he might want to go to college for the social experience, and it'll be a choice for him rather than being like, yo, that is the way to accumulate wealth for your family. And we're showing him that. Like, we're living examples. His household is a living example. Everyone who's around him, the kids that he's with, he can, again, express that because it's like, yo, he's seeing it firsthand. I want it to be a choice for my kids, but I want it to be a choice for everybody's kids, man. Like, people can look at my story coming from education and be like, yo, I could do that. right? Like they were telling me, like my coworkers was like, yo, you should come up with a book. Just more than a gym teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even in that, it was like, yo, while we were doing the podcast, I would tell my coworkers, yo, I got this podcast about finance, and they're looking like, come on, man, you doing kickball. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
Now they like, Vaughn, welcome to my store. Offer me a job, but now I don't want it. That's it.
But that's the thing. So now it's like, yo, they seeing the success of the podcast and the success of the movement. And it's like, yo, I want to come work for you. Can I work for you? Right. And I'm like, if you've been watching the podcast, you've been watching the movement, that's the wrong question. It ain't about working for me. It's about working for yourself.
Big facts.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just going to pay you just like the school district did. I might pay you even less because you was fronting on me before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But nah, I mean, that's it. And again, like, did college help that? Probably not. And so watching my best friends and watching my brothers be entrepreneurs and learning from them on this journey, I mean, it's a testament to it. So yeah, just a choice more than a necessity. You know what I'm saying? I can't say like don't go to college. He got a college degree. I got a college degree. I got student loan. But if we can steer people like, yo, there's options for you, more power.
All right, so we're gonna go, quick lightning round. So obviously we literally inside the vault, right? Literally inside the vault. And so I'm gonna give you 3 banking terms, but I'm gonna flip it a little bit, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So the first term is deposit slip. So obviously we know when you go into a bank, a deposit slip is where you put the money in. But for inside the vault, deposit slip is any mistakes, right? So talk to me about any deposit slips, any mistakes you guys have made with money.
Yeah, I think my biggest mistake with money was not really investing it early on. You know what I'm saying? And, just buying material items, things of that nature, and, going to clubs and buying bottles in clubs. That's probably the dumbest thing you can do in the world.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing in the world, man. Especially when you don't have money.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't have money. Like, I have money now, and I don't do that. When I didn't have money, I had like $1,000 to my name, buying $300 bottles.
Yo, we gotta split that, yo.
You know what I'm saying? 24 years old, trying to live like Puff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
Yeah, so just living beyond my means. That was probably the biggest mistake that I made, was living beyond my means and not actually just waiting for the right time to do that.
Yeah, I think we all got that story. It was like, yo, you want to prove to people you got money and you don't have any money. I remember like I took him with me when I got my second car. It was a BMW, and they told me the payment was like $569 a month, and I'm like, damn, I'm getting paid $1,200 every 2 weeks. All right, let's get it. And then it felt like, let's do it. And so like for 5 years, I'm making these payments, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this is costing me, because one thing you learn about these foreign cars, it don't matter the year of the car, the parts gonna be the same, and the parts don't change in price. And so it became like this hassle just to have this car. I'm like, yo, this is, all right. Yo, listen, y'all, don't get that foreign. Don't get that foreign until you can afford it and do it in a manner that makes sense for you financially. So yeah, that was a big one.
All right. Second term, cancel check, right? So we know a cancel check, somebody writes a check, there's not enough money in it, you got to cancel that check. And so talk to me about any mindsets that you had to cancel or people you had to cancel during your journey.
Yeah, negative people in general. You come across some negative people, whether it's relationships, whether it's, friendships or family, whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? And for me, it's just a matter of just separating myself from negative energy. So anybody that, may have negative connotations or negative things to say, or, you got to watch people with those jokes too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of hate. A lot of hate is hitting in humor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? After a while, it's not really funny. It's just like disguised hate. And all of that kind of changes over the course of time too. But, that kills, shout out to Neo. It's one of my favorite quotes where he said, the best way to kill a big idea is to introduce it to a small mind.
Bars.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, you gotta be careful who you introduce your ideas to and who you speak to, because it's like, if these people are shooting down your ideas subconsciously, you might just be like, it's probably not gonna work. Yeah. So that's probably my biggest thing, is just to try to always keep positive people around me and people that's actually doing better than me and inspiring me. I don't want to be the person that's doing the best. It's like, there's no way to go up from there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably the biggest takeaway for me.
Yeah, I don't think I've had to cancel anybody. The same dudes you see me with is the same dudes I've been around since I was in 7th grade. Like, that's no joke. Like, we really have grown up together as young men, teenagers to men now. I would say that the most encouraging thing is like, yo, we just try to add value around us. Surround yourself with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I keep my circle very tight. We protect our energy, man. You know what I'm saying? So if anytime we come into the room and anybody that's ever been around us, they know, like, when Earn Your Leisure come in, like, oh, it's gonna be a good time. That's just how we moving. And so anybody that can't get with that, they gonna feel awkward. They gonna feel out of pace. And as we've, actually had more success, I feel like people have canceled themselves. They look at it like, yo, I was gonna call you, but I know you're too busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, same phone number, but it's like, yo, they feel like, yo, I can't reach them anymore because maybe I wasn't right before. And it's all love. Like, anybody that has my number, it's the same thing I have since I was 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's just a phone call away. If I can help, I'm going to. That's just how my natural being. Anytime I can help somebody, I'm going to do it. That's just how I was raised. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Nah, and that leads to my last one, trust account, right? And so trust account is an account that helps keep building, right? And so talk to me about that trust account. Talk to me about the people who have helped during the journey and the type of energy that you guys keep around you.
Yeah, there's been so many people that's helped us along the journey, man. It would be hard to even name, but all of our immediate circle, you know what I'm saying, as far as like our partner Mike, Jamal, Bam, my sister Tahira, Troy's wife Danielle, Mike's other brother Rich. These are all people that we grew up with. Like, you know what I mean? When you see Earn Your Leisure, a lot of people just see me and Troy, but they don't understand, like, it's probably, 15 people that, you know what I'm saying, that are on our payroll that we stimulate their economy and they stimulate our economy. We all grew up together, we all know each other, we all from the same neighborhood. So for us, that's just been a blessing to be able to work with not only each other, but our friends and our family and everybody that we've come across in our journey, including yourself, has helped us, has helped, built the house of Earn Your Leisure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has a brick that they put in to build that house. So we're grateful for all of our alumni. That's why we don't even call them guests. We call them alumni. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's an honor to actually have these relationships with such great people, knowledgeable people. So, and then of course, the supporters, you know what I'm saying? The earners all over the world that have, spread the message of Earn Your Leisure.
Like, y'all went from, hold on. Y'all went from like 5 million, like last week. It's like, oh, we have 5 million. Then like the week later, like, oh, we had 10. Wait, hold on, what they doing? They spiking numbers over there. What's happening over there? You know what I mean? But fast out to the earners, word of mouth.
All over the world, bro. And it's like, like the 5 million is on audio, the 10 million is on YouTube. So to be able to, reach those kind of numbers, and it's not just America, South Africa, London, Toronto, Canada, Ghana, like, you know what I'm saying? To be able to touch the whole entire globe in a matter of 24 months, you know what I'm saying? It's extremely humbling, but it just goes to show you that the best form of advertising is just put out a good quality product. The people gonna champion it for you.
Yeah, Trap said that to us too, man. Good dope gonna sell itself. You know what I'm saying? So like, we just keep putting out the product. If it's valuable, people gonna keep gravitating to it. And shout out to Q, he said something super powerful. He was like, yo, Earn Your Leisure and the movement is only good as the people that come from it. And so as Ash Cash grows and does crazy things, that's alumni, dope. If Alex Good Energy does some crazy things, dope, that's alumni. If Him 500, like all these guys that we come in contact, and the females too, we love elevating our women because we know that, there's not too many platforms that do that. So, the first time we hired somebody, we hired a woman. So shout out to Janet, she was our first employee, who's doing amazing things for us. But like, man, as people grow from us and grow from the experience of being around Earn Your Leisure, man, it just makes us even bigger so we all grow together, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, classic. Look, classic episode, nothing but gems on gems on gems. We got Rashad, Bilal, Troy. I got your name saved as Troy Millions. You know what I'm saying?
No, real talk. So that's a real story. In high school, a kid, shout out to Matt Carver, he couldn't pronounce my name. And so he just called me Troy Millions. And so I wrote that down. And so that became my name. Like, I would, in my old life. I used to tag Troy Millions, but it was the mindset. Like I was like, I like that, like because that's where I want to be at. I want to be a millionaire. Yeah. And so I was like, yo, T Millions, that's gonna be my name. That was Millions. That was my my Xbox name, my PlayStation name, T Millions. I'm like, yo, come get done up in Madden real quick.
So real quick, so what we want to do too is there's a lot of money myths out there, right? And so talk to me about a money myth that's out there that you want to dispel, because there's so many out there. Money don't grow on trees. You got to work hard. Like there's so many, right?
The biggest one is you got to work hard for money, I think, and that's partially true, but it's not true how we understand it. We understand it, like, shout out to Chad. He said something to me yesterday that was very profound. Growing up, I'm sure you definitely, a lot of people have two jobs. You know what I'm saying? People work day shift, they work the night shift. Your moms might have worked two jobs, whatever. And I never knew one person that worked two jobs that had money. You know what I'm saying?
Big facts.
The harder they worked, the more they was broke.
Big facts.
I never knew one person in my life that, and I know thousands of people that work two jobs. I don't know anybody that got financially free from working two jobs. But it's like, growing up, once again, in working class environments, that's how we are taught. Our relationship with money is not as an investor, as a business owner. Our relationship with money is go work for it.
Right.
As hard as you possibly can, as many hours as you possibly can work.
Right.
And only thing you're gonna do is just kill yourself and burn yourself out. So it's like, to me, that's the biggest money myth that we've been lied to think that the harder you work, the longer hours you work for money is the harder you work as far as developing systems. The harder you work as far as educating yourself and getting information. That's gonna make it a lot easier to the point where you can make money in your sleep. Make money, you know what I'm saying, wake up whenever you wanna wake up.
That mailbox money.
Yeah, that's a fact. So for me, that's the biggest myth.
I would think, and it's been my mantra, man, hard work don't pay off, smart work pays off. And I took that from early on. They were like, yo, why are you teaching phys ed? Like straight up. I was like, yo, because it's gonna allow me to have time to do whatever I want. Right? Like I was like, yo, I'm gonna go to school, but I don't want to grade papers. Like I don't want to have to stay after school. I don't parent teacher conferences, and I know nobody's gonna come see me. It's gonna allow me to do anything I want to do after school. My day would be over at that time. And I was still able to like do what I love. I love sports, I love working with kids. I could put those things together, and then when my day was over, it would allow me to do something else. Now, for like 12 years, I couldn't figure out the other thing. You know what I'm saying? We tried a bunch of things that didn't work. And so it was like, yo, when Earn Your Leisure came, it was like, all right, this is what I got to do with the time. Yeah. This is what I've been waiting for. Right. This moment to allocate that time where people are like, yo, I don't have time. We got to have our lesson plans in, or I got to grade these papers, or there's a test, or the state exam is coming. I was sitting there like, all right, yo, I'm going to cut this episode up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it allowed me the time, because it was like, all right, from the beginning, I'm like, yo, I got to work smart because I know this isn't it. And like, that's something too. Like you could be in a career and realize like, you know what? Then I need to make a pivot. Like I knew from the beginning, like this isn't it because the impact ain't strong enough. I know if I'm reaching people at the level that we're doing, like I can't do this for much longer. And so like when he was telling me like, yo, bro, you're not gonna be teaching much longer. You're not gonna be teaching much longer. You're not
Jimmy, I'm gonna get you up out of 5H.
Fact, that's our ball. Like, yo, Jimmy, I'm gonna get you up out of 5'8". Shout out to Kim.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Real Harlem, real Harlem. And so I was like, I knew it. I was just like, when's the time coming? And so when the time presented itself, it was like, all right, we pouring everything into this. Like, they was like, yo, how y'all doing this? How y'all doing this? Because they were looking at it like, yo, we pull up and it's like me and him. They're like, yo, where's everybody else? So it would be me, him, and Jamal, or me, him, and Mike. And they were like, yo, where's the rest of the team? I'm like, yo, nah, this is it, bro. This is how we shooting. And it was like, all right, this is the moment. We got to pour everything into it. We got to be machines with this, like, because this is the moment you've been waiting for. So it's time to seize.
Nah, dope. And so that actually is a great segue into my next question is, what advice would you have for the side hustler, right? So somebody who does have the 9-to-5, who wants to start that business, you know, what advice would you have for the side hustler?
Yeah, I mean, create the plan, first and foremost, right? Like, I'm having this conversation more than I thought I would, especially during this time, as teachers are calling me like, yo, this is so frustrating. I don't know how I'm gonna continue being in education if this is how it's gonna be. And I was like, well, what's the exit strategy, right? Like, and that's from stocks too. Like, we learned that from investing. Like, yo, don't enter a position before you know how you're gonna get out of it. And so if we look at our careers like that, like, yo, Are you planning to work for 35 years? I don't know teachers that want to work for 35 years right now. Like, this ain't the days of like your grandma, like, yo, I taught for 35 years and now, you know what I'm saying? That just ain't happened. Teachers are feeling burnt out at 30. And so it's like, so what's the plan? And I'm speaking to one young lady, she's like, I don't have a plan. I'm like, well, what are you doing right now in your personal life? She's like, I'm just trying to pay healthcare bills for my son. I'm like, yo, well, you're an advocate, right? How many parents don't even know how to advocate? I say, I know a guy who writes books. You should write a book on how to advocate for children and put it out to the public, because you can make a lot of people's lives a lot easier. Because our community, for sure, and I've seen it for years, we don't know how to advocate for our kids. We don't know the services that they need. We don't know how to help. And so I'm like, if you're experiencing these things now, document it, because you could change somebody's life. And so create the plan. And when the plan is staring you in your face, don't run from it. Don't run from it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's in your face.
That's it, yeah.
Like, they looking at us, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, education, financial advising. It's in our face.
Right.
We didn't have to, it was right here for us the whole time. We was building it. All right, this is the avenue we're gonna make this thing work. But sometimes people run from their purpose and it be right in their face.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a bar. Any advice for the side hustler?
Yeah, I think he said a lot, but just understand that everything doesn't have to be a home run. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you got your job, and you might just, your first goal is to make, $500 a week. You know what I'm saying? Or even $200 a week. It's not something that's going to retire you, but it's a stepping stone you build on. And, when you set a goal, never set a goal based off of money. You know what I'm saying? Set a goal based off of production and activity. That's something I learned early on. So it's like, if you got a t-shirt business and you're trying to make, $500 a week selling t-shirts, most people say, okay, my goal is to make $500 a week. The problem is that, how do you make $500 a week? You making $50 a week, you get burnt out and you quit. The goal is to say, okay, I know if I sell 200 t-shirts, now I'm gonna make $500 a week. But the goal isn't even to sell 200 t-shirts. The goal is the activity to sell 200 t-shirts. I know if I go to 37 barbershops and if I go to 10 gas stations and I go to a flea market, based off of my past analysis, if I do this, I'm gonna sell this shirts. So that's the goal. The goal is to actually go to the barbershops, to run ads and do these things and do in-person events, things of that nature. Like, that should be your goal. Your goal is the activity. The activity will produce the revenue. So that's something just for entrepreneurs in general, but definitely if you're just starting out, because that stops a lot of people. They get discouraged. And it's like, yo, you're setting a goal to lose weight. That's not a goal.
Right.
The goal is to go to the gym 3 days a week. The goal is not to eat carbs for 90 days. Losing weight is a byproduct of doing those activities.
Yo, can we zoom in on that assets over liabilities?
Nah, big fact.
What camera is that?
Shout out to all the earners worldwide. And as we said, when people are championing your brand for you, and these are just a perfect example. The good brother, his name on Instagram is PRPLEMT, pulled up on us yesterday and just, came bearing gifts, assets over liability, Air Force One. So not only are we grateful for this, but as we said, this is just a way that you actually market your brand, right? And it's like the people will champion it for you. So
Got the Air Force Ones, the asset over liabilities. Excuse me, I misspoke, right?
Yeah.
Like, cut that. Don't even have me saying Air Force Ones. He got the Uptowns on. You know what I'm saying? He got the Uptowns on, the asset over liability Uptowns. I need a pair of size 13, please. You know what I'm saying? But salute to y'all. You know what I'm saying? I got the merch on. Looking forward to all the great things that you guys continue to do to move the culture forward. EYL in the building. Great episode. Gem after gem after gem. These are, like, the movement is beyond crazy. Make sure y'all tap in. I'm not even gonna give y'all a website. Just do your Googles, earn your leisure. Make sure y'all tap in and tune in. I am Ash Cash, Inside the Vault. I'll see y'all next episode. We got heat. We're gonna keep bringing you heat, but make sure y'all tap in. I am Ash Cash. I'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
let's do it.